Hello and welcome back to another episode of RE Radar. Once again, I am your host and realtor, Nathan Mathisen, and it is the start of a new month. It is now May. And so, what does that mean? Well, it means that it's time to go over the real estate market of April, see what happened, see if it changed, see if the trends from the earlier episodes have continued, and just really check in on the market and see what's happening here in Seattle, my local market. But first, before we get into April, we have to, of course, go over what's taken place in 2025 so far. So far, throughout these market updates, kind of what the trends have been is there have been a good amount of new listings coming on every month. There's been a good amount of homes for sale at the end of each month. The sellers in 2025 have started to come back to the real estate market. They understand now, look, we bought back in 2021, whatever it may be, or we refinanced in 2021, 2022 when the rates were super low. So these sellers have been unwilling to move off of this asset in their home and sell it because, well, they can't get those rates anymore. They can't get those monthly payments anymore. However, now that it's 2025 and now that it's a few more years removed from that, there are more cases of people just needing to move for different reasons, whether that be divorce, whether that be marriage, whether that be a new kid, whether that be whatever it may be. There's life changes that have happened, and sometimes you have to move whether you like it or not. So we're starting to see those sellers come back to the market. That's what the trends have been. However, the trend of the buyers coming back has yet to hit the market. We're seeing closed sales data, which is below the 10-year averages. Now, I don't know about you guys, but to me, if closed sales data is below average, well, the amount of homes coming out of the market is kind of record highs of the last 10, 15 years. That to me signals buyers just aren't able to afford to buy homes. The average buyer can't afford these prices. And that's just kind of a statement on Seattle real estate prices has gone up and it's gotten quite expensive. And just spilling some beans on, I guess we'll just transition in instead of spilling the beans, we'll just jump right into the median sale price talk, which is in April, we saw the highest median sale price in any month ever in Seattle. The median sale price in Seattle, residential and condo, hit $880,000 in April. And now, just before I get too deep into these numbers, if you are listening, you will not be seeing these graphs, unfortunately. But if you are watching on my YouTube RE Radar, what you'll see is these graphs pulled up and you'll be able to see the charts and see the numbers on the screen by me. But if you're listening, don't worry. I'll still make sure you understand the data and understand the key points. So again, median sale price, what we saw in April was a record. It was the most expensive homes have ever sold for. And just from 1 month ago, it's up 4.7% for March. And then from 2024 in April, it's up 3.5%. So home prices are going up. Now, previously, before this 880,000 median home sale price, the previous record had been May 2022 when that number hit 875,000. So just barely beat it, but still, it is, of course, April marking the highest median sale price we've seen in Seattle. If I were to predict, though, I bet May tops it. Just my prediction early on. We'll see in a month if I'm right or not. Because in Seattle, as it really shifts into the warm, sunny months, we're really going to see that spike in real estate at the start. We're really going to see it April, May, and June, that huge spike before Seattle kind of tapers a bit in July, and then another little jump August, September. But getting into these warm, sunny months, this is kind of what we expected. Now, with these prices going up, though, so much, what has happened to the days on market? Are homes just sitting longer and longer with these 4% increase in prices since last month? Well, that's not what we've seen. The answer to that is no, as median sale price in Seattle, residential and condo, has simply been at 7 since February. And average days on market has actually been on the way down. In January, it hit a 10-year high of 54 average days on market, whereas now this past April, what we saw was the number was down to 22. So while prices are going up, median days on market are not really being affected per se by these prices. So now getting into new listings a little bit, not only does sunny weather in Seattle mean higher prices, it also does mean new listings. It's the peak real estate season. It is when the most people are looking to sell their home. So of course, what we've seen throughout 2025 so far has been higher than average new listing numbers through January, February, and March. Now, what did we see in April? Yep, that trend continued. So, even just since March, last month, new listings are up 16% at 1,559 new listings hitting the market in Seattle this April. Compare that to the 2024 number, and it's up 20%. So, like the theme has been each episode, each market update this year, the previous 12-year average for the month of new listings in April had been 1,279. So, we're 18% above the 12-year average. Now, homes for sale, of course, is going to be very correlated with new listings. If you're seeing a bunch of new listings, it could mean there's going to be more and more homes for sale at the end of the month. By that, I mean how many homes are still actively for sale when April closed. And what we saw was there were 2,075 homes for sale. That is the second most homes for sale at the end of any month since October 2020. The only other time in the last 5 years when we've seen more homes for sale was September 2024 when there was 2,095. So with those new listings consistently throughout 2025 being higher and higher, what we're seeing is more and more homes are for sale. Now, getting into the closed sales data, getting into kind of seeing what the buyers are doing, getting into are the buyers there? Well, just like we've seen each month so far this year, the closed sales data is not there. It's not keeping pace. Over the past 12 years, we saw on average 818 closed sales in the month of April. This past April, what we saw was 818 closed sales. Now compare that to the previous 12-year average, which was 937. And as you can see, closed sales are significantly down. That is about a 13% difference right there. So we are seeing record new listing numbers and total homes for sale at the end of the months. However, closed sales data is simply not keeping up. And what this is leading to is this change in a month supply inventory. We've mentioned this a few times on the show before, month supply inventory, but essentially what that number is it showcases how many months would it take to sell all the current inventory. Now, in Seattle, what we're always getting really is seller's market. Seller's market, they have the advantage. Months on supply inventory has been in that 1 to 2 range for a while, it appears. Now, with all these new listings coming onto the market and all these homes for sale at the end of the month supply inventory closed has been creeping up and up. And what we saw this past April was the month supply inventory hit the number 3. This is just the second time since 2013 that the month supply closed hit 3 plus. The last time that happened was, of course, September 2024. Seems to be a theme. September 2024, having a good amount of homes sitting. Now, well, 3, of course, is getting closer and closer to the idea of switching to a buyer's market. It's still a ways off. Typically, kind of a buyer's market, you don't really get talking about that until it gets closer and closer to the 5 to 6 range of month supply inventory. And well, we're at 3 right now, and that's one of the highest it's been since 2012. So as you can see, Seattle is a seller's market and hasn't been anything else since about 2011. Now that really wraps up all I've got for you today on RE Radar. Listings are picking up, prices are picking up, but once again, this is another month where the closed sales data is below the 12-year average. Like I've been mentioning, this kind of speaks to me in the interest rates and the price of these homes. For the average person, it's just too much. So they're not able to afford these homes and able to close these sales. Even with more and more new listings and more homes coming to sale, though, prices are still going up. And that speaks to Seattle having a lot of people who simply have above average amounts of money and are able to keep this Seattle real estate market going and keep producing these high appreciations year in and year out here in Seattle. People have a lot of money here. And really, just on that note, I bid you adieu and say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Once again, I'm your host and realtor, Nathan Mathisen. And if you have any questions or ever want to talk about the real estate market, feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to help. But until then, have a good one. Peace.